Hey guys, before we get into today's video, I just wanted to say thank you for the recent support on the channel. We've been gaining some great traction on Rome Total War videos, and if you'd like to see more, please consider subscribing and leaving a like on this video. If you'd like to see other games, breakdowns, or how-tos, let me know what you want to see, and I'd be happy to make some videos. We also have a Twitch where we stream these games live, so come check us out. Hope you enjoy the video. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Learn to Play the Faction. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Britons. The Britons is probably one of the most easiest faction to understand what your goal is and what the task is. Um, because you're kind of trapped in this corner of the world. We have access to England. The island of Ireland is currently owned by rebels, which is an easy island to capture. You do start off with some boats in order to help transfer units from one shore to another. But you'll notice something interesting about the Britons. There's actually no docks. So you get one unit of ships, but you have to build docks in order to get more ships. We start off with our spy in mainland England and our diplomat in mainland France. But it gets a little bit complicated. We start off with a family member and a unit of druids, a family member with British light chariots, slingers, and some warband. And basically, if you would bring up the map, please. The entire point of this playthrough is to take your British power and push into France and Gaul, defeating them, and then finally coming head to head with the Julii. One of the really important things about this is when you start your invasion of Gaul, you're going to want to make sure that you have docks available because pirates are going to start spawning here in the ocean. If these ships collapse, so does your entire recruitment centers and most of your cities to your mainland invasion. Some notable allies that you want to pick up at the start of the game are Germania, Dacia, and, if at all possible, even the Romans themselves. You won't come into contact with the Romans until Gaul is pretty much destroyed, and so getting trade with them early on can help really boost your economy. So, how are we going to actually pull off our invasion? Let's take a look at some of our units and how we'll be able to best utilize them on the battlefield. So let's take a look at some of the British units available to us. So starting off with our peasant units, we're not looking too great. An attack of 1, charge bonus of 1, and a total defense of 4. Barbarian peasants are the weakest form of peasants in the game. Barbarian peasants are terrible. I highly suggest not even bother recruiting them. There are a couple of different weird things that you can do, glitches, whatever, in Rome 2 that allows barbarian peasants, especially British peasants, to be one of the best units in the game. However, here in the OG Rome Total War, they are terrible. They require 241 people to recruit, which is like, why would you bother even recruiting them when you could have warband? The warband has an attack of 7 and a total defense of 10. They also get the war cry, which improves their attack by 2 to 3. They're an expert at hiding in the woods. Most units can hide in the woods. but there's a range in which they can be identified by the enemy. Being an expert at hiding in woods reduces that range by 50%. They get a combat bonus fighting in woods or snow. So making sure that they are in the woods will give them extra defense and attack. The issue is they may charge without orders, which does become a little bit of an issue if you're trying to hold a line formation. Um, but when you're playing as Britain, you shouldn't be holding line formations often, only against weaker opponents or opponents with like infantry. The best way to use warband is to use them in anti-cavalry positions, so using them in squares. The other way to use them is to stagger them in V formations in order to try and make improvised death traps. Swordsmen, however, are going to be the real backbone of your army. They require 80 less in order to recruit, so you're down to 161. Makes it much easier in order to churn out a lot of units and to make sure that your population in the cities don't get bottlenecked. They also have a war cry. They're also an expert at hiding in the woods. They may charge without orders, but the difference between a warband and the swordsman is the fact that the swordsmen have good morale. Having this great morale will allow you to fight some more complicated units, including chariots, without having the swordsman break immediately. You also have access to the final tier of the swordsmen, chosen swordsmen. Chosen swordsmen have an attack of 13 and a total defense of 17, putting them on par with some of the best mid-tier units that the Romans have to offer, most notably Triarii and Principes. However, they still lack behind late-game Roman cohorts. Chosen swordsmen have an excellent morale, and they also have good stamina, which gives them a little bit of a bonus when it comes to sapping. Chosen swordsmen would be an excellent unit for your main line while using other groups with vast superior numbers, such as our warband, or as we'll get to later, dogs, to come through and do our flanking position. The slingers, however, are pretty bad. With a melee attack of 3 and a missile attack of 3, total defense of 4, the slingers are essentially glorified peasants. They do have the bonus of fast moving, so they can retreat. The issue with slingers, though, is because they have such a low missile attack, putting them up even against Hastati just isn't going to cut it. Slingers are going to be best used in the center of your square formations, and in order to use them even more effectively, they should push out in front of a line in order to lure an attack or a charge into your mainline infantry. Your hounds, on the other hand, are incredible. With an attack of 12, charge bonus of 4, total defense of 3, warhounds are exceptionally good at forcing units to rout in both flanking positions and in total routes. They can frighten the nearby enemy, which does a huge hit to their morale strength. They also have a combat bonus in woods or snow, and they are fast moving. What is also interesting to note about warhounds is when your unit is routing, so long as you have instructed the unit to attack another unit, the dogs will continue to attack that unit until all dogs are killed. The only thing that's going to rout here are the handlers, which are the individual people. Once the handlers are completely eliminated, so too is your dog's unit. If you leave all of your handlers alive, but all of your dogs are killed, your dogs will respawn to full strength in the next battle. So there is kind of a little bit of goofiness when it comes to the Warhound unit, which you can either throw away, unfortunately, or use to the best of its strengths so that you will always have a fully stacked army every time you go into a battle. We have heavy chariots, which comes later in the game once you have your weaponsmith. The British heavy chariots have an attack of 13 and a charge bonus of 7. However, they have a total defense of 1. They do have 3 hit points, which makes them a little bit easier to use against infantry. However, if you are trying to use them against anything with a phalanx or pike position, such as Triarii, you will just simply lose the entire unit of chariots. Chariots are best used to destroy routing units as well as engaging cavalry. In terms of the Romans, taking on Roman generals would not be advisable. However, taking on units like equites or even cavalry auxilia would be a very good idea with these British heavy chariots. They have an excellent morale, meaning that they can pretty much stay in the battle until they're completely wiped out. They frighten nearby infantry. They do have a special attack. However, they aren't actually listed in here. And so, what is the special attack? Well, they do have a bunch of swords that they can swing at their opponents, but the special attack actually comes down on the wheels here. They have tiny blades coming out from the wheels here that can be used to chop up the enemy as you blaze through it. One of the uses of chariots is to actually not attack a unit, but to force the chariots to plow through a unit by making it march past it. Because of that movement, these special spikes on the ends of these chariot wheels will be doing a ton of damage. Once again, not great against phalanx and pikemen, super good against pretty much everyone else. British light chariots has a melee attack of 10, missile attack of 10, low hit points, same low defense, however. So once again, super, super good. Just make sure that these chariots have the spikes on the wheels. As long as they have spikes on the wheels like this, they will all have this special attack. Oops, sorry. We do have a barbarian warlord, attack of 13, total defense of 1. They have 2 more hit points, however. Please make sure that when you are using this unit, you take a look and you'll notice they still have the pieces and the swords on their wheels. So all of these chariots have this special attack. And because of this special attack, you can use these specialty units as just that, specialty units, until either they've run out of ammunition or whatever, and then when they do, you can just use them as melee units. Now, the Britons have a unique section of infantry we'll take a look at. These infantry are only unlocked if you go a certain route on the temples and shrines. So the first unit we want to talk about are druids. Druids are only unlocked if you go the Shrine of Britannia route. They have an attack of 13 and a total defense of 14, which makes them really, really good units. The issue is, however, there's only 64 of them. So it's not something that you can have an entire army of. They have very good stamina, excellent morale, combat bonus in woods or snow, expert at hiding in woods, but their chant is really what makes druids a powerful unit. Chanting inspires nearby troops. When you have a general unit, those general units have a horn ability called Rally, which allows those units that are either starting to retreat or are close to retreating and are wavering that extra morale buff in order to stay in the fight. Druids have that as a base. So you can do a special ability of chant, and those routing units can reform, keeping them in the fight longer. We also have Woad Warriors. Now, Woad Warriors are only unlocked if you go the Shrine of Andrasta route. An attack of 13, total defense of 4, though. Warcry improves attack, expert in hiding in woods, combat bonus in woods or snow, all things that most units have. However, they have good morale, they have good stamina, and they're fast moving, making them really, really solid units for flanking maneuvers. If you have your chosen swordsman as a baseline unit and a frontline unit, you can use Woad Warriors as quick flanking units in order to capture and destroy units of Hastati, Principes, even Triarii. However, because of a low defense, these Woad Warriors can be easily picked off by most ranged units. Make sure that if you are fighting an army that has plenty of ranged cavalry or even archers, that you make quick work of them with your chariots or even war dogs up front before you start going through and trying to destroy the rest of their infantry with the Woad Warriors. Now, if you also go the Shrine of Andrasta route, you get access to head hurlers. Head hurlers put slingers to shame. Just to take a look real quick, slingers have a melee attack of 3, missile attack of 4, total defense of 4. Head hurlers have a melee attack of 12, missile attack of 17, and a total defense of 2. Head hurlers are going to be essential for your army. They have a war cry. They have an expert at hiding in woods, but this is the most important thing. Effective against armor. You are literally taking human heads and throwing it at the enemy. But what does that mean? Effective against armor. Head hurlers are really good against Romans in the testudo formation or pikemen in the phalanx formation. Because of this, head hurlers are going to be essential if you start going after the Greek city-states like Macedon, Thrace, Greece itself, or if it takes you until late game to start hitting some of the late Roman factions. The head hurlers, because they have a missile attack of 17, can even be upgraded at the Sacred Circle of Andrasta to get a missile attack of 20. A missile attack of 20, so long as it connects to their target, is pretty much a kill. Head hurlers, because they are effective against armor, is essential to your army. I would not put the head hurlers against ranged cavalry or even cavalry themselves. They are most effective on the back lines, and head hurlers have the range of javelineers or Rhodesian slingers. So that takes care of all of the units. Let's go ahead and just double check and take a look at some of our buildings and how we will destroy Rome. So, with all of these paths and challenges that we have to overcome, another issue that pops up is Britain is the most underdeveloped faction in the game. Diva only has a warrior's hold, so we'll have to buy roads, walls, traders, everything in order to increase its economy. Same thing with Eburacum, just has a warrior's hold. Londinium, however, has a wooden palisade and a muster field, which allows the recruitment of a war band. But other than that, we have to completely rebuild our entire empire from scratch. We do have access to a trader in the mainland of Europe, and because of this, it's vital to get trade agreements with Germania, Thrace, Macedon, and other mainland empires. Taking a look at some of our buildings, as we mentioned before, some of our unique units require certain temples. The Sacred Circle of Britannia allows us access to druids, gives a public order bonus due to happiness of 15, and a public health bonus of 15. This is actually really good as you start getting cities with higher and higher levels of population. Helps with the spread of the plague because we do not have access to sewers or any other public health buildings as Britain. The Sacred Circle of Britannia gives a public order bonus due to happiness of 15 and an increase in tradable goods. This is not what we want. I don't know anyone that would take the line to the Shrine of Britannia. It is slow, it's clunky, and it's overall just not a good choice. The Sacred Circle of Andrasta, however, gives a public order bonus due to happiness of 15, experience bonus to troops trained here of +2, and gives us woad warriors and head hurlers. But they also get experience of 1, meaning that our woad warriors and our head hurlers get +3 XP. So it does actually help us a little bit with the woad warriors' poor defense. This will increase that defense by 3 and increase their attack by 3, making them a very, very powerful shock unit in the mid-game. The other buildings that are going to be vital for the Britons is your markets, which gives a slight population growth bonus, but with the markets, you get the weaponsmith, which allows us to get the cornerstone of some of our British armies, which are going to be British heavy chariots and British light chariots. Ports don't get much upgrading. They get a single point of boats and then large boats, which large boats are essentially the equivalent of most pirate fleets. There's no upgrades to roads. There's only a tier 1 of mines. And there is nothing going on here in terms of public relations. So because we don't have as many buildings to give our settlements public happiness, it's very difficult to make sure that our population is growing. So what ends up happening is towards the mid-game, you'll start to bottleneck in this region on population. You simply can't grow. That's why, if you really want to have a strong, powerful game, trying to go after the Julii first, getting access to their cities and their population, will be a huge boon for you as you try and take the rest of Rome. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate all of the support on the past two videos. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, you want me to change up how I usually do this, please let me know. I would be happy to make sure that you guys enjoy this content to the fullest. I hope you all have an incredible rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.